Okay, international challenges. Well, we have faced quite a few. Customization for specific markets was quite hard. And again, this is where actually doing a sales approach where you're going to market serially rather than all at once can help. We went to Russia and found out you need a Russian version of software. We're actually already selling software in Japan and China, quite happily chatting to engineers in English. But when we went to the Russian market, we found out we needed a translator. It's simple things like that. And again, SDI helped us with that, and it's been very good. Our experiences now with Russia, again, working hand in hand with SDI to help promote that. Identifying and securing business from, again, early adopters. Obviously, it's markets, you have to find out who the people who are going to be the people keen to take new product on board are in the different countries. Obviously, depending on your sales model, if it's distribution, you have to find the distributors in the country. But again, this is one of the key points of understanding the sales process in the UK. So you know how you're actually selling your product, you can replicate that around the world. Okay, we did have some other problems. There's obviously, because we have no offices internationally, you do have to continually reassure end users that, you know, it isn't going to be a problem. And that's done basically by doing things like video conferencing. For example, one of my team was actually video conferencing Australia last night at 12 o'clock. But again, you can do that. Again, you have to work with your team of staff to do that. Emails, for example, 10 years ago, everybody was using the phone a lot of time for business, etc., etc. Now we find email. I'm probably corresponding to 70 countries around the world on email most weeks. And it's no problems. It's easy to communicate. It's easy with Blackberries. Traveling, it's much easier to do. But the key point at the end there, regular visits. If you're going to have an international sales operation, even if you have, I believe, offices in country, you need to visit the countries on a regular basis. Okay, some learning experiences, and there's been good and bad. Okay, the first one that we did, which wasn't a particularly good one for us, because we wanted to enter the American market quickly. I mentioned we were looking at Europe and America. Whilst I was selling in America, we employed the American sales guy. We spent over $140,000 with them on an 18-month period. Again, we said 18 months is about a sales cycle, so we had to try and leave him to that point. He sold nothing. He basically cost us a lot of money. He actually then lost a large order to, at that time, not even a competitor of ours. And then when it's the left after we get rid of him, he basically joined the competitor and started selling against us. So you have to realise sometimes you can make mistakes, which is a little bit painful. We rented office space in Houston we never used, because we're going to Houston once every 5 or 6 weeks. I was off the plane, going to meetings for 5 days and then back on a plane and coming to Europe. Again, a lot of mistakes that you can avoid, and these mistakes just all cost the company valuable profits and valuable money. We tried selling in too many places at once as well. It's very attractive when somebody from SDI phones up and says, we're doing the Brazilian oil and gas show, would you like to go to Rio de Janeiro? Well, yes was my answer. At the same time, it would probably been better maybe going down to the Middle East that we're already selling in to try and boost the sales on it. We also signed up long-term agreements with one, for example, in Indonesia for 4 years, and really that's a mistake. Do not sign long-term agreements. Try agreements for a year, and if it's working, usually if companies are working with you and it's professional, they'll happily sign a year contract with the view to, once it's a success, moving it on to the next level on a longer time frame. I think this is one of the biggies. You know, initially use your own resources to sell your products internationally. You don't need a team in far-flung places around to sell it. You're much better off finding salesmen or saleswomen based in Scotland who are happy travelling. And there's a lot of them about. I've got a team that do that, and it works well for us. And this, I think, I'll just focus on as a point, is nobody can push your products like your own team. Dealers and agents, there was a Scottish Enterprise training course a few years ago. Ken Morse from MIT was over, and one thing he said is, basically, dealers will not be missionaries for your software or your products. You have to go and do it yourself. So, just to see what we've got from all of the learning around the world. Sorry. It gets your customer base something like this. This is about a third of ScienceSoft's customers. International companies all around the world. BP in the middle is an OEM agreement through the Halliburton contract. BP use our software globally. We have customers from Japan, China, as I said, in more than 80 countries around the world using our software. One of the interesting stories I think is in the third row down, Cairn Energy. Cairn Energy, the well-known Scottish company, great success story, and Bill Gamble's actually a member of the Entrepreneurial Exchange as well as CEO. To sell to Cairn Energy, as much as I would like to have jumped on the train and gone through to their head office, I had to jump on a plane at Glasgow Airport, go to Dubai, change in Dubai and go to Delhi, get my agent in India to pick me up, take me to the Cairn Energy offices, and that's where we sold the software to. So that's an example of why internationalisation for products and trying to get your message out to the market, even if you've got an office close by, you still have to go out there and try and do it. Okay, key messages I think from all of our experience in the field is, well, number one, maximise your sales from your existing area before you move on to the next one. I think that's a big message. I was actually at an Entrepreneurial Exchange dinner, one of the first dinners I was at, and it was Giorno Benedetti that was actually hosting it. One of the things we agreed at that night is it's important to make sure you maximise your sales in your existing areas before you move on to the next. To succeed in new markets, companies need both product excellence and sales excellence, not just one or the other. I've seen far too many Scottish companies who have brilliant technical product, but they have a very poor sales channel, a very poor sales force. It's something I think endemic in the UK as well. We need to get better at sales and better at the sales process. From our own perspective, and you might hear differently later on in some of the talks, is we've shown that you do not need foreign offices or staff in foreign offices to have an international business. As I said, ScienceSoft will do more than £1 million profit this year. In fact, we've turned over just under £1 million in the last 3 months, including our maintenance contracts, and it's almost an international business. We have no international offices whatsoever. You will need, however, a trained sales force, and they're going to have to travel along. When I travel 4 months of the year, and I'm actually off to the States for 2 weeks, on Tuesday this week again to have meetings with different companies all around that area to push sales on. I mentioned it before and I will mention it again. From a ScienceSoft perspective, Scottish enterprises and SDI have been a big help to us. They have a valuable, sort of resource pool, and I would encourage anybody thinking about international sales at all to use them. The benefits of exporting. In the last 4 years, ScienceSoft have exported more than £5 million of software. That's revenue into the country that can help, obviously, job creation as we're doing just now. It helps, obviously, from balance of payments for the country from that perspective. However, I have a thought for everybody here, and many of you will be, directors of, SME companies who maybe aren't exporting just now. If we did 200 companies doing the same in the next 4 years, that's £1 billion of exports. So I think the message I want to give the small companies, and I'm certainly a director of a relatively small company, is that, Scottish-based SMEs can make a difference. The other thing I would emphasise is we started from scratch 10 years ago, and we're now trading very successful internationally. And it's really just not that hard. You just have to go and graft and get the sales going, and you will get there. There are hard times at the start, but the long-term benefits, I think, are fantastic. As I think I said earlier on, ScienceSoft in the last, in fact, it was John's introduction, ScienceSoft, even during the market's worst recession, have actually produced more than 20% growth for the last 2 years. In fact, in the last 2 months, we've made more profit than we made in the whole last year. All of that is down to international sales. It's our international business that's pushing things on. So I've got one last thought for everybody, that to help make Scotland's future a brighter one, start exporting. Thank you.